got this second X-bar fitted, and now we are ready to tack it in place. And that's pretty straight.
Straighter than me.
Oh yeah, definitely straighter than me. That's looking real good though.
It is. So once this X-burst is finished, what's next?
I'd say the next step would be doing a couple more tack welds just in case, just to make it stronger. And then we're going to get the 6x6 steel plates and lay them underneath each post and get them fitted to the floor, get them welded on the floor, and then weld the roll cage to the floor. Alright, we got the main hoop cut out. It was only tacked in, so it wasn't a big deal. We chose to do that because without that in here, we can fit these base plates in a lot easier because there wasn't much movement for that hoop to move back and forth, so it was basically in the way. So we cut it out and we're getting these things cut. We attempted to kind of get it bent up a little bit, but this is thick steel, so when you bend steel in one direction and then another one in another direction on a different axis, it bends and kinks, so it's not going to look good. So you have to do a relief cut right there.
So this is our extremely precise and technical way of bending this metal.
Mike's a lot stronger than me, so I'm getting Mike to do it. So we got these base plates formed. It's kind of rough, but we can't get exact, but it's pretty close. So what I'm going to do is clean up underneath here so I can get really good welds, because you can't weld metal on paint. It's not going to work. I'll work my way around just so I don't warp the floor or anything. Alright, we're ready to tack this thing in. We got it level, got it measured, centered in, so tack the base plates, get them in pretty good, and then not all the way. We wait to weld the whole thing once we're done the whole complete cage. So once we get this welded, we'll get the X-sprays fitted and welded, and then that'll probably be it for today, because me and Mike are pretty tired. Okay, after measuring once and cutting probably 30 times, we finally got this X-brace into position to where it fits. The reason why we had to do a bunch of trimming was because we moved these plates a little bit further up from where we originally set this thing at, just so it was easier for it to be set like that, so we wouldn't have to do as much bends. It's sitting a lot flatter, and plus the way that these base plates were positioned kind of moved. It didn't really move it. We have it in the same position, but we had to trim it to get to where we needed it. So it changed a bunch of little tiny things, like small measurements. So we had to do a lot of trimming to get this thing to fit, and we finally got the fit, and we're about to tack it up. What's up, guys? Mike isn't here yet. He's at work. It's just me talking to myself. I got this door bar fitted and I filmed it, but the mic wasn't on. So that's my bad. But all I did was basically I had to read up rules about NHRA roll bars, and they mandate that these crossbars are no more than 4 inches below my shoulder. So I got in this seat, measured. This is, I think the midpoint right here is about 3 inches below my shoulder, so we're good. I got this crossbar. It was already pre-notched on one end. I fitted it to where I wanted it, and it was a little long on this end, so I measured from here to the floor, got that measurement, did the same measurement on this side, created the midpoint. I took this back out, I cut it and notched it, put it back up. I'm about ready to get this thing tacked, and then we can start my door bars. So now that I have this bar in place, I need to do the torsion bar. And the reason for a torsion bar is to limit torsional flex. Now when a car is launching at the drag strip or accelerating hard at the track, the way that a rear differential is set up, it will always lift the front driver's side off the ground first. It's just the natural physics. You have to look into how differential works to really understand why, but I'm not going to explain that right now. Now with torsional flex, this side is going up, this side's going down. You want to create an anchor between the top and the bottom to lock them. So if I have something connecting from my fingertip down to my palm, it's going to lock it. It's not going to want to move at all. A horizontal bar like this won't do anything because it'll just go like that. An X-brace will definitely hinder a lot of torsional flex, but this torsion bar will definitely do a huge improvement. So hopefully this modification will make my car launch really hard. Originally this cage kit did not come with a torsion bar or any kind of piping, but since I did X-brace conversion, I have some extra pipe, so I'm able to do that setup. So I measured out my points, still measuring from where the bottom of the bar is going to be intersecting the roll cage, and I marked off all the points that I have. So just gotta line this up and do some markings and cut it out. And because my chop saw is limited to 45 degrees and up, I can't really use math to do precise cuts because most of these angles are below 45 degrees. So I have to do it the hard way, which is just getting it kind of fitted and trimmed, and it takes a lot longer, but hey, it's what I gotta do. Okay, I notched these ends and they came out beautiful. I finally got a little technique of how to get these things notched, and they line up perfectly with my marks. So I'm pretty happy with that. So all I need to do is just get this tacked in and start the bottom bar. What I'm doing is I'm setting the marks for the bottom of the torsion bar, and I kind of have it in place, and I'm doing a rough estimate of where I need to cut. I'm giving a little bit of tolerance, like a little bit of extra on each end, just so I don't have too little. It's always better to have too much than too little. So I got both ends of this pipe notched. It's really close to where I need it to be. This side up here is perfect. All I need to do down here is just kind of open this up. So what I do is I put this pipe inside the cage, marked off how much I need to cut off, and just do the same thing again. Just draw that U shape up to the top of the notch, just to kind of see where you need to grind off. And now what I do with the grinder is I have this guard. I have the guard sit on the ground, and it kind of makes like a pivot, so I can just go like this and it'll stay on one axis. And another thing I do is I use my foot and I move it back and forth like this to create a nice fluid movement to create a really good notch. Look at that notch. That looks like it's out of a pipe notcher, but it's from a grinder. It takes a lot of practice, but it works. I got my lower part of the torsion bar notched, and it's perfect. It couldn't fit in there any better. But before I weld it in or tack it in, I need to complete the weld down here because the bottom of this torsion bar is going to be covering this seam up. So I need to get this welded all the way.
I have no face. What is that?
It's a wire. I felt some pain in my hand, and I was like, what the hell? This might hurt. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh. Ow! That did hurt.
Is that from the wire wheel?
Yeah, I think it was just stuck in my glove, and I put it on, it stabbed in there, but I didn't feel it till later. What we're doing here is setting to where my door bar needs to be. Rules mandate that this thing has to intersect somewhere between my shoulder and my elbow, so it's doing it right now. This is basically setting distance of how long the bar has to be, and I'm basically making this like the bottom of the bar, so I know exactly like how long it needs to be.
Will the door close where that is?
Yeah, but I'm not worried about that right now. Actually, yes, I am close. I think I'm going to be having it like this.
Just for comfort, I would think you would want it down here just so you have a little more room getting out.
That's right.
So in the picture, this pipe is angled out like that.
Are we filming?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
But the door won't allow it, so it's got to go either down or up.
Not to admit, it looks kind of cooler up, but that's going to make life a lot harder.
I think having it up will offer more protection in a T-bone, but having it down will definitely make it easier getting out.
True. I think I'm going to have it down.
I think that would be the most practical option.
Yes. I'm definitely going to have to get the steering wheel quick disconnect. Now I also need to put into factor my foot for the clutch, because I can't have this thing too far because then it's going to be off the base plate. It can't be inward too much because then I'm going to have like no room for my foot. So
Well, you could just switch it to an automatic.
No.
We're good.
Yep. Right there. Now that we got this door bar trimmed, Mike hold it while I tack it. And Mike is actually a guard for sparks, so no sparks burn through my upholstery.
So better my skin than the upholstery.
Yes. Yes.
Good. Well, I guess my skin repairs itself, your upholstery doesn't.
That's exactly why I chose to do that. Well, I got this other door bar fitted, and it's the same process as that. It's actually kind of easier because I didn't have to sit in this seat and get everything measured relative to my shoulder and elbow. I just did the same measurement over there as over here, and now I can just get it tacked in place. Okay, so I think we're pretty much done. I'm almost out of welding gas, so I can't get the whole thing tacked up, but at least it's all put together and fitted. It'd just be super boring watching me weld every single weld on this whole cage. But actually, this whole mod was actually pretty easy. Like, let's see, we started at like 2:30. What time is it now?
It's like 6. It only took us like 4 hours.
It's pretty easy. Yeah, it's super easy actually. Like anybody can do it. So
you just need to take your time and get the right measurements and make sure you cut accurately. Don't just chomp in and go, oh, I cut out the wrong angle, then you have to grind it again. Because we didn't encounter any of that. But
yeah, we didn't do any of that. Like, we're that good.
So just make sure that you measure 8 times and cut once instead of cut once, or measure once.
Well, there's also fitting, like measuring and putting it in. Like, it's extremely hard to get that right the first time. So when you do these cages, it's going to take a while to get one bar fitted. It's just trimming, putting it in there, because you can do the right measurements and have the right equipment, but it might not fit the first time. And not everybody has a tube notcher or any kind of fancy equipment to get these things fitted perfectly like a professionally built race car. But if you're just doing this at home like the first time, like me and Mike, all you have is a chop saw and a grinder. And that requires a lot of fitting. So
if you don't have a welder, I believe there are some bolt-in cages that they make, but they're probably more expensive because they're pre-made and everything. This was really cheap. How much did this
I think this whole kit, the X-Brace kit was $50. The 6-point or the 8-point Universal kit I think was like 120 or 130. I don't know. I got it off Stunt Racing. Actually, no, I got it from Santa Claus a couple years ago. Even though it says Laura Roman on here.
So a little less than $200 is all it costs to do this.
Yes, but it'll also spend up a whole bottle of gas if you're welding.
And wire.
Yes.
And go through cutting blades and grinding blades.
Yeah, so I don't know the exact price, but you can easily get one of these things put in yourself for under $300.
Bolt-in kits are probably going to be at least $400.
And not every car has bolt-in kits.
Like the Sentra.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing's made for that car.
My head feels so big.
So now that we've completed this roll cage, should we do one in the Supra?
That's for you guys to decide. I want to do it.
I don't know if I want to make it like awesome race car or like restored, nice, quick street car.
Well, I'm doing kind of combo of both, so I think you should go for that.
Why don't you guys leave in the comments what you want? Should it be a nice, restored, luxury, quick street car, or should it be an all-out race car that's just badass? Both are nice. Both are nice.
The best way to go is just combine both. That's always cool.
Very true.
Anyway, a couple main points when doing this is always before if you have 3 pipes coming together, always make sure that you weld underneath the one joint before you put the other pipe on, because you're covering up a joint that isn't welded and you're going to weld on top of that, and it's not going to make the cage as strong. Another thing is make sure you're ordering mild steel, or if you have a TIG welder, you can get chromoly.
You don't want to use pipe that you can get at your local hardware store because it's not nearly as heavy enough.
Yeah, and it won't be certified, and it won't do anything because it'll just crumple when you roll over.
Sure, it may look like a cage, but when you actually need it, it's not going to do what this thing's going to do.
And plus, this thing has just made my car so much stiffer than what it used to be. And this is probably the most important point of all. Before you start your project, have the car with the engine, the transmission in the car, and it's sitting on all 4 wheels. Because if the car is jacked up on jack stands and there's no engine and transmission, the body is going to be flexed a little bit differently than it would with an engine and transmission and it on the ground. And then if you get this cage welded up and then you put it down on the floor, or you get the wheels on it, put the engine and transmission in, it's going to tweak everything. Like the body and the roll cage are going to be arguing against each other, and when you launch or you do any kind of hardcore racing, it's just going to cause all sorts of problems with the body. Like you could mess up your door gaps or crack the glass, or just cause the car just to...
You could rip a panel off the floor, you could break a weld, or...
Yeah, so always have the car on all 4 wheels with the engine and transmission in the car. That's probably the most important thing. But we're done, so I think we're off to the bars.
Let's go.
Yeah, all right. All right.
Why don't any of our cars ever run?
Son of a bitch.
This?
Why isn't it starting?
The Supra did the same thing.
Oh, that means we need to do more videos. I hate videos.
I hate Ford.
Alright, we better get to work and get this thing running.
See ya.
Yeah. Oh, wait a minute. It's really hard to get out.
I'm just gonna stand here to the video because I don't feel like getting out.